This video is on equations with variables on both sides. Previously, we have solved equations where you had to simplify each side using the distributive property and combining like terms, and you've had to get the variable by itself. You've had to isolate the variable. Today, we're going to do equations with variables on both sides. So there are 3 steps to solving equations: simplify, variable on one side, variable by itself. Right now, we're going to focus on steps 2 and 3. Get the variable on one side first, then get it by itself. On number 1, I have a variable on the left side and the right side of my equal sign. And whether or not you draw your line down the middle is totally up to you. When I have a variable on both sides, like I do, and a constant on both sides, the 4 and the 12, like I do, I prefer to put the variable on the side that results in a positive. If I subtract 6n from both sides, I'm going to get a negative 4n on the right. So instead, I'm going to subtract 2n from both sides so that I can get a positive 4n on the left. On the right side, those cancel each other out. I'll bring down the plus 4 on the left. I'll bring down the plus 12 on the right. Actually, I don't even have to write plus 12. It's understood to be positive. Now we have a simple 2-step equation. To get rid of plus 4, we minus 4 to both sides. 4 minus 4 is nothing. That leaves me with 4n on the left. 12 minus 4 equals 8 on the right. And to get rid of times 4, we divide both sides by 4. And our answer is n equals 2. You try number 2. On number 2, have a variable on both sides and a constant on both sides. You could subtract 12n from both sides to get the variable on one side, but I choose to subtract 4n from both sides so that my variable is on the left and I get a positive 8n. If I had subtracted 12n from both sides, I would have gotten a negative 8n on the right. Bring down my positive 8 on the left. Those canceled out. Bring down my positive 24 on the right. Now I have a simple 2-step equation. Start at the bottom of GEMDAS and work your way up. To get rid of plus 8, you minus 8 to both sides. 8 minus 8 is nothing. You're left with 8n on the left side. On the right, 24 minus 8 is 16. Now to get rid of times 8, I divide both sides by 8. And your answer is 2. Number 3. On number 3, I choose to put the variable on the left side again because that's going to result in a positive. So I'm going to subtract n, which is the same as subtracting 1n from both sides. 3n minus 1n is 2n. Bring down my plus 2. N minus n is nothing. Bring down my 6. To get rid of plus 2, I subtract 2 from both sides. 2 minus 2 is nothing. That leaves me with 2n on the left and 4 on the right. To get rid of times 2, I divide both sides by 2. And again, my answer is 2. Number 4. On number 4, I choose to put the variable on the left because that's going to result in a positive answer. So I'm going to subtract 2n from both sides. 4n minus 2n is 2n on the left. Bring down minus 11. 2n minus 2n is nothing. Bring down my 7. To get rid of minus 11, I plus 11 to both sides. 11 minus 11, or negative 11 plus 11, cancels out and leaves me with 2n on the left. 7 plus 11 gives me 18 on the right. To get rid of times 2, I divide both sides by 2. And your answer is 9. Number 5. On number 5, if I put my variable on the left, I'm going to get a negative 4n. So I want mine to be positive. I'm going to subtract 2n from both sides. And that gives me a positive 4n on the right. 2n minus 2n is nothing. My 12 comes down. My equal sign comes down. And my plus 4 comes down. To get rid of plus 4, I minus 4 to both sides. 12 minus 4 is 8. Bring down my 4n. 4 minus 4 is 0. To get rid of times 4, I divide by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Your answer is 2. Number 6. On number 6, if I put my variable on the left, I get a negative 2n. I want to get a positive answer, so I'm going to subtract 2n from both sides and get my positive 2n on the right. And just to be different, I won't draw my line this time. You're welcome to do that every time if you'd like. So my 12 comes down. 2n minus 2n is nothing. My equal sign comes down. And my plus 6 comes down. To get rid of plus 6, I minus 6 to both sides of the equal sign. 12 minus 6 is 2. Bring down the equal sign. Bring down my 2n. 6 minus 6 is 0. To get rid of times 2, I divide both sides by 2. And my answer is 1. I didn't draw my line down the middle, but I made sure that my equal sign came straight down, and whatever I did to one side, I did to the other. Just wanted you to see it work a different way. On this number 1, there's a difference. This time I have a variable on both sides, 3n and n, but I only have a constant on one side, on the right. I don't have a constant on the left. Remember, a constant is a number constantly by itself. It doesn't have a variable in the term with it. When that's the case, I'm not trying to necessarily put the variable on the side that results in a positive. When you have a variable on both sides and a constant only on one, always move your variable away from your constant, always. So I want to move it away from my constant of 8, so I should subtract 1n from both sides. 3n minus 1n is 2n. n minus n is nothing. Bring down the 8. To get rid of times 2, we divide both sides by 2. And my answer is 4. The only difference here is when you have a variable on both sides and a constant only on one side, always move your variable away from that constant. Let's try number 2. On number 2, I only have a constant on the left, so I'm going to move my variable away from that constant. I'm going to move it to the right by subtracting 1n from both sides. My 4 comes down. N minus n is nothing. My equal sign comes down. 9n minus 1n is 8n. To get rid of times 8, I divide both sides by 8. And 4 divided by 8 is 0.5 in a calculator, but if it's a fraction, let's just simplify it. 4/8 simplifies to 1/2. All right, number 3. On number 3, I have a variable on both sides, but a constant of 4 only on the right side. So let's move this variable away from that constant. Therefore, I will subtract 5n from both sides. 7n minus 5n is 2n. 5n minus 5n is nothing. And my constant of 4 comes down. To get rid of times 2, you divide by 2, and your answer is 2. Number 4. On number 4, variable on both sides, constant on the right. So to get rid of this 1x on the right, I subtract 1x from both sides. 3x minus 1x is 2x. X minus x is nothing. Bring down my 8. To get rid of times 2, you divide by 2. And your answer is 4. Number 5. On number 5, my variables on both sides, my constant is only on the right. So I subtract 5x from both sides. You get 2x equals 4. To get rid of times 2, you divide by 2. And your answer is 2. You may have recognized 5 and 3. Same problem, different variable. Number 6. On number 6, variable on both sides, constant only on one. So to get rid of to get rid of plus 2x or positive 2x and move it away from this constant, we need to subtract 2x from both sides. 2x minus 2x is nothing, leaves me with 3 equals, and 1 minus 2 or 1 plus negative 2 is negative 1x. Here's the first time we've had a negative x. Remember, that's understood to be a negative 1 right there. You don't have to write it, but it's understood to be there. So x is not by itself. I need to divide both sides by negative 1 to get rid of that negative sign. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive 1x. Now I have x by itself. 3 divided by negative 1 is negative 3. So your answer is negative 3. Now we will start mixing it up. Some will have a constant on both sides and some will have a constant only on one side. Try number 7 and 8. On number 7, I have a variable on both sides and a constant on both sides. So I'm going to put it on the side that results in a positive, which would be the left side. If I subtracted 4n from both sides, I would have gotten a negative n on the right. I'm going to subtract 3n from both sides and get a positive n on the left. Bring down my negative 3, bring down my positive 1. To get rid of minus 3, I plus 3 to both sides. Negative 3 plus positive 3 is nothing. 1 plus 3 is 4. Your answer is 4. On number 8, variable on both sides, constant on both sides. So I'm going to put the variable on the side that results in a positive answer by subtracting 1n from both sides. That gives me 2n minus 2 on the left, positive 4 on the right. To get rid of minus 2, I plus 2 to both sides. That gives me 2n equals 6. To get rid of times 2, I divide by 2. And my answer is 3. Let's try 9 and 10. On number 9, my variable's already on one side. So I don't have to get the variable on one side. It already is. I just need to get the variable by itself. To get rid of this positive 23, I subtract 23 from both sides. 23 minus 23 is nothing. My negative 2n comes down. On the right, 41 minus 23 is 18. To get rid of times negative 2, I divide by negative 2. And my answer is negative 9. On number 10, again, my variable is already on one side. This time, I need to simplify the right side before I try to get the variable by itself. I have 8n and negative 9n, which need to be combined to give me negative 1n. Bring down my plus 6. Bring down my negative 4. To get rid of plus 6, I minus 6 to both sides. Negative 4 plus negative 6 is negative 10. On the right side, my negative n comes down. 6 minus 6 is nothing. To get rid of times negative 1, I divide by negative 1. And my answer is positive 10. Let's do one more, number 11. On number 11, I have a variable on both sides, but a constant only on the right. So I want to move this variable away from this lone constant of negative 10. Therefore, I will subtract 2n from both sides. 4n minus 2n is 2n. My equal sign comes down. 2n minus 2n is nothing. My negative 10 comes down. To get rid of times 2, I divide by 2. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. My answer is negative 5. Thank you.